Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Touched by a Horse. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with your host today, Cali Brown, all the way from Canada. Hello, Cali Brown.
Hello.
In Canada. I love the Canadians. You Canadians are so awesome.
Yeah.
Always
we're very
so
kind.
friendly. Yes, so friendly, so kind, so down to earth. I love it. I love it. Well, let's talk about Gestalt coaching as it relates to stress management. I'd love to hear your story. Like, how did you find this type of Gestalt work, and why stress management?
Yeah, so it's more of just a bunch of life choices and experiences that led me to this. It started back when I was 12 and puberty and changes and stress, and when I probably shut down, I would say, to who I was, not knowing it was an unconscious decision.
Sure.
And that stress led to just a lot of health issues that doctors couldn't really diagnose. It was then diagnosed with Hashimoto's at 15.
Wow.
And then I just kind of struggled till I was about 23. And I was really feeling numb.
Was it struggling like physically or struggling emotionally? Like, what was the struggle?
I would say both physically and emotionally. I was just very drained of energy, and it didn't feel like anything I accomplished was ever enough. I just was dull. Like, I was numb. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't even really like what I was doing and who I was. So it was a time when I was about to make a decision that I really didn't want to make, but I had no feeling towards it, that I was like, there's got to be something more to me. And I heard a voice that was like, no, Callie, you can do better. And it was then that I started to seek help. And I luckily found a therapist that was trained in Gestalt. And he was just amazing. The way he gave me space and the way he just made me feel before he ever got into the story. The story didn't matter for once, which was a very amazing experience.
What was the story? The story was that I have Hashimoto's, or the story was that?
Yeah, just the stress that I had of not being accepted, or for who I was supposed to be, or just growing up, like the traumatic story or the bunch of stories that lead to stress. It just didn't matter. I didn't have to explain 10 years of what I didn't know what was happening. I just got to meet him right then where I was at.
Wow. Yeah.
Which I feel dull, right?
Yeah.
So that was my first experience with Gestalt. And after that, it just was like the world started getting brighter. And then from then I started growing. And then I started working with my horses more in barrel racing, and I found that I was being limited to my success with them. But I found out when I was running into the alley one barrel race on a horse that could easily win, and I was prepared to win, and she was so nervous, and I just couldn't win. And I was like, what is it that I am holding on to that is trigger, like that this horse is picking up on, that I just can't let go of?
Yeah.
So then I just started putting it out in the universe. Like, it would be amazing to have that Gestalt therapy and this horse's sensitivity help me. And I had no idea that this method existed, but I just put it out in the universe and just carried on. And then I actually found this Touched by a Horse program through a friend I was talking to, and it was just like, bang, this is the winning combo.
That's amazing. I love it. I love that. So now on this side of having gone through your own healing and moving from a place where you were stressed to like everything starts to have, how did you say it, have more color, or how everything starts to feel brighter, and what do you see now? Like, where do you see others get stuck, like in their stress? Like, because it must be more vivid for you now when you see others stuck. Like,
it is.
What do you notice?
Yeah, I notice a lot of like limited beliefs, and the fact that they think that that's how it has to be, like top behavior mostly, and just lack of energy. So relationships, environment, I
Mm.
see choices,
Yeah.
but mainly, and fear, a lot of fear too. Fear to actually step into their joy. I find that it's our biggest fear is our greatness.
Hmm. Tell me what do you mean by that? Tell me more.
I feel we run more from pain than we do towards pleasure because
Yes.
it's scary, right?
Yeah. And
So
so,
that's what I noticed.
if our biggest fear, say it again, our biggest fear is our what? Our is
Our biggest fear is our greatness.
meaning that if I run away from the fear, I can turn into something new. Like if I get present to the fear, like it opens up
Yes.
something new or what?
Yeah, I feel we all have so much more in ourselves than
Mm.
we actually know of. Like there's such a big plan for all of us.
Mm.
And once what we'll know when we're there, when we feel that peace inside,
Yeah.
where we're not triggered, we're not reacting, we're just content and peace. And
Mm.
that success is different for everybody. I mean, for one person, it could look so differently than another. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just important for me that everyone can feel that peace because that's why we're here. And that's our connection to God or
Mm-hmm.
the creator or our higher self or
Yeah. So good. How do people move? So, well, first of all, let's talk about stress management because I know one of the places that you go to work with people in your work is in managing stress. Or I wouldn't even say it's managing stress, right? Beyond the managing of it is like this releasing of it, like
yeah.
how do you, first of all, why do you feel called to that? Let's start there. Why do you feel called to?
I feel called to it because I know being a young girl, it's scary and you don't feel understood and you don't know what's going on. And I think that's fair to say for people of any age that you don't know what's going on in your body or what to call it. You just know that you're stressed. So I want to connect with people to let go of pain and trauma and be their authentic self and wherever that is for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's so much, especially when you're younger, but I think it just compounds as you get older, actually. I think when you're younger, stress and not knowing what's happening in my body or even where I fit in the world. Sometimes for me, like professionally, I didn't know where I fit. So I just would find myself into jobs or careers that was like, I don't know, this isn't quite it. And that created stress. And then you take that into like, I'm in my 40s now. So you take that into 40s and you just have all these stories or patterns that you've lived inside of. And none of it's been, well, I don't want to say none of it's been real, but it's all been in response to a story rather than in who I really am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's so important to start to get to that authenticity piece. So how do you, through the work with horse and the Gestalt type of work, how does Cali work with people to release that stress and move into something new?
Yeah, so I am very grateful. We have 10 horses here and they're such great beings. They're so loving and giving. And I just would like to welcome people out.
Mm,
And then I just create this environment where they can feel so safe
mm,
and secure and no judgment.
yeah.
And I just give them that space to tell me whatever they want to tell me or tell me nothing and
Mm,
leave that up to the horse and I. Or if there it's just to be
yeah.
out there for the first session. So every session looks different.
Right. Right.
So I welcome them out and we kind of go with the flow. That's Gestalt. There's no plan.
Got it. How does it different than if I could see somebody coming out and hanging out with your horses and there's no
Yeah.
plan. So I hang out there, but then I go back
Yeah.
to work on Monday with my same patterns and stress. Like, how is it different from just a weekend? Like
Yeah.
I went to the petting zoo and I
Yeah.
hang out with some horses and then I went back to work versus I come and I hang out with you with no agenda. Something shifts, something moves. What's the difference?
Right. So yeah, the difference is that the Gestalt deepens it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained to follow the energy of the body and the words
Mm,
to someone's subconscious and to notice what their patterns are that are out of their awareness.
yeah.
And what I do is help bring that to their awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put people into that bottle, into their feeling body, that's when the horse responds and teams up with me to help the client in their process and help me deepen it. Yeah. And that's where we work through that, and we deepen it, and we go to their unfinished business and we finish it for them.
Beautiful. Yeah, I totally get that. Like, to just come out and hang out with horses. And I think there's beauty in that too, to actually, but without the releasing of something, right? Like there's a releasing that happens. Speak to that, because I know we were talking about.
Yeah, like I've hung out with horses my whole life, and there was never that releasing. There was that calmness with them, but it wasn't until I had the Gestaltist help me release that the horses could help, and that I could actually get rid of that. Yeah. So that's when the emotional surgery happened. So I would explain it as the second most amazing thing to my childbirth.
Wow.
Because childbirth I knew could happen. I knew that I was going to go through this pain. It was going to be intense, and I was going to hopefully have this baby. But this I was not aware of. I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what it was. So it was a fear, and I was scared. Yeah. But once I got rid of it, it was literally like an emotional surgery, and that whatever was holding on to, for me, it was a tight ball. It was just gone. And then I could just breathe. My body went from absolutely shaking to calm.
Wow. That's crazy. So somebody listening to this who's like, wow, I know I could do some emotional healing. I feel like there's something happening. I can't quite explain what it is, but I don't want my body to shake. Or, what do you say to people who are like, I don't know if I want to go there and do that, whatever that is?
I would say to them, why not? If someone, what holds you back from feeling joy, and why can't you experience it? There is no reason why you can't. And I'm here for them 100%. And it doesn't, and I don't want to say my experience and say that's going to be everyone's experience, because everyone's experience is going to be different and a different time. Yeah. So I had started my journey in 2013, and in 2017 I got to release it. So it wasn't.
Yeah, good point.
I had already been getting connected with myself. So it takes time. It can happen in 1 hour. It might take 4 months. It might take a year, but just our well-being is the best thing to have.
I agree. I think that a lot of people live life in response to the stories that we have. I think there's a lot of stress that builds up. It can come out in sideways as depression. It can come out as addiction. It can come out as just straight up unhappiness. There's a lot of things that I think prevent us from living the life we want to live. And I would say, I think everybody wants to live a life in full color. Everybody wants to live a life with immense joy.
I feel like people get tired if they've maybe not connected with the right therapist, or the right, they're probably trying to do their best and with what they know. So I just want to open them up to this and see how this works, because this is so authentic.
That's good. I would guess that people typically who would engage this kind of work would be people who are ready for a change. Like they're ready, like they're like, oh, you say stress management? Yeah, I've done it all. And I really want something that is new or different, because I feel like I've read the books, I've done the journaling, I've done all the stuff, and nothing has seemed to release it. Like you're talking about it being released. And so, and after, I don't know how many interviews we've done like this now, where like time and again, the story is always the same, that this type of work is something new, and people always have this release. Like there's something different about this approach to stress management, or about healing, than a lot of traditional modalities. So
yes.
So good. So good. Well, if you had to think of like what you really wanted for the world, what would you say? Like what do you want for people who feel stressed out?
I would love everyone to be them and be authentic and be proud of that. be proud of who they are and feel that peace inside and that calmness and that joy, and to be able to look and be grateful for what's around them.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to have that kind of joy, they're ready to take that next step, how do people connect with you, work with you, etc.?
So they can go to my website, www.consciouseffects.ca, and all my information's on there.
I love it. Good. Consciouseffects.ca. Cali, thank you so much today for our conversation. All my best to you, and look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.